Have you ever stopped and wondered why the person sitting right next to you on a flight paid a totally different price for their ticket? Or, why your student ID magically gets you a discount? Well, today we're going to pull back the curtain on one of the most common, yet kind of misunderstood economic tricks out there: price discrimination. Okay, so let's just dive right into this. Think of it as a mystery you've probably run into every single time you shop. You're buying one thing, but it feels like it has a dozen different price tags floating around. Right, the classic example, of course, is flying. I mean, you could have two people in seats right next to each other on the exact same plane going to the exact same place, but who paid hundreds of dollars apart? It's wild. One person booked way in advance, the other bought their ticket last night. One's a business traveler whose company is paying, the other is on a budget vacation. So how on earth is that possible? But, this isn't just about airlines. Think about the last time you flashed a student ID at a movie theater or for some software subscription. It's the exact same movie, the same service, but your price is lower just because of who you are. Or what about all the streaming and software services we use every day? You've got the basic plan that gets you in the door, but then there's the premium plan for a much higher price that unlocks all the cool features. The core service is the same, but the price is broken into tiers based on how much you want out of it. And here's another one. Sometimes it's not about who you are, but when you buy. A train ticket during that morning rush hour commute, it costs way more than the exact same trip in the middle of the afternoon. See, it's the same idea at work. One service, a whole bunch of different prices. So what is the common thread tying all of these examples together? Well, it all boils down to this really key economic idea: a company's guess about your willingness to pay. And here it is, the formal definition. Price discrimination is all about charging different prices for the same thing. And the key phrase here, the one to really remember, is not justified by differences in cost. I mean, think about it. It doesn't cost an airline less to fly a student than a business person. The price difference is based on something else entirely. So you might be asking, why do companies go through all this trouble? Well, the goal is pretty simple. It's to make as much profit as possible. By trying to figure out the absolute most each customer is willing to pay, they can capture more cash from people with deeper pockets, while still luring in the rest of us bargain hunters with discounts. This slide does a great job of showing the difference. Look, if a hardcover book costs more to print and bind than a paperback, well, that price difference makes sense. That's cost-based. But when a brand new hardcover costs way more than the exact same hardcover 6 months later, even though it costs the same to make, yep, that's price discrimination in action. But how do companies actually pull this off? I mean, it's not as simple as just slapping different prices on things. It turns out there are 3 secret ingredients they absolutely need to make the whole thing work. Okay, so first, the company needs to have some market power. It has to be able to set its own prices. Second, it's got to be able to slice up its customers into different groups, like students versus non-students or business travelers versus vacationers. And third, and this one is so important, it has to prevent people from reselling. Because if students could just buy a ton of cheap movie tickets and sell them to adults for a profit, the entire system would just fall apart instantly. All right, now that we know the how, let's get into the what. Economists have basically broken this down into 3 different levels or degrees of price discrimination, and each one has its own playbook. So this table breaks it all down beautifully. You've got first degree or perfect price discrimination. This is like the holy grail for companies, charging every single customer the absolute maximum they're willing to pay. Think about haggling at a car dealership. Then there's second degree, which is all about how much you buy, like getting a discount for buying in bulk. And finally, third degree, which is the one we see all the time, involves splitting customers into groups, like students or seniors, and charging each group a different price. And yeah, of these 3, that third degree group-based pricing is by far the one you bump into every single day. It's the engine behind student discounts, senior specials, and even those different prices you see online based on where you live. It's the version of price discrimination that really shapes our daily lives as shoppers. Okay, so we know what it is, we know how it works. But that brings us to the really big question, right? Is this whole thing a good deal that gives more people access to stuff? Or is it just an unfair way for companies to squeeze every last penny out of us? So what's the real impact here? Well, basically, value gets shifted from you, the consumer, over to the company. The company makes more money, while you get less of what economists call a good deal or surplus. But, and here's the interesting twist, by offering lower prices to some people, companies can actually end up selling more stuff overall. They open up the market to people who couldn't have afforded it otherwise. And that, right there, is the heart of the whole dilemma. Does giving some groups more access to a product justify charging other groups a higher price for the very same thing? Is that fair? Well, the argument for it is pretty strong. Discounts let students or people with lower incomes get things they just couldn't otherwise. It can even make it possible for a company to stay in business in a market it would otherwise have to leave. But the argument against it is really powerful too. It can feel really exploitative, and it raises some serious questions about fairness and transparency. I mean, why should I have to pay more just because of who I am or where I happen to live? And believe me, this debate is only going to get more intense from here on out. Why? Because technology is taking this old school practice and launching it into a brand new, hyper-personalized era. Just think about how this has evolved. It started with something super simple like paper coupons you'd clip from the newspaper. Then we got the dynamic pricing used by airlines and hotels, where prices can change minute by minute based on demand. And the future? Well, we're heading straight for fully algorithmic pricing, where a price is calculated just for you. You see, companies now have these incredibly powerful tools. They use big data to analyze your browsing history, your location, your past purchases, everything. They use complex algorithms to predict exactly how much you're willing to pay. This is the tech behind the surge pricing on your ride-sharing app, or those prices that seem to magically change on an online shopping site. And that really brings us to the final, crucial takeaway. In this new world of personal pricing, the question isn't just, what does this cost anymore? The real question is, what does this cost for me? As companies get better and better at guessing our personal price tags, we all have to decide if we're okay with a future where the price is always personal. What do you think?